Welcome back to our channel History Coins HD. As you that old as gold, but these Jefferson nickel 5-cent coins that are most valuable than you think, don't spend one of them. You're lucky if you have one of these, so please watch complete video and find your treasure. Let's start this. Number 1. Where we uncover the hidden treasures that could be sitting unnoticed in drawers, piggy banks, and old coffee cans. Today's spotlight shines on a coin that has been quietly hiding in plain sight, the 1972 Jefferson nickel. Now, I know what you're thinking. A 5-cent coin? From the 70s? How could that possibly be worth anything more than a burger topping? Well, hang on, because the story of this coin is full of surprises. Let's start with the basics. The Jefferson nickel has been a staple of American currency since 1938, honoring the third president of the United States, Thomas Jefferson. Over the decades, the design has stayed relatively consistent: Jefferson's profile on the front, his famous Monticello estate on the back. But even within this familiar design, something remarkable happened in 1972. That year, the Denver Mint struck millions of nickels, nothing unusual about that. But as with many mass-produced coins, not all nickels are created equal. Some of these 1972 nickels came out with subtle differences, minting anomalies, and imperfections that make collectors' hearts race. These are what we call rarities, and they are the holy grail for numismatists. One of the things that makes the 1972 Jefferson nickel so fascinating is that, while it was widely circulated, most people never took the time to notice the small details. The truth is, there are coins out there that appear almost identical to regular nickels, but a closer look can reveal something extraordinary. It might be an off-center strike, a double die error, a planchet flaw, or even an unusually strong strike that makes the lettering and design pop with uncommon clarity. And then, of course, there's the condition factor. Most nickels from the 1970s were used, abused, and tossed around for decades, which makes finding one in mint state condition extremely rare. Combine that with a possible error or variety, and now you've got something truly special. So why does any of this matter? Because collectors are willing to pay big money for coins that are rare, historically interesting, or in pristine condition, and when a coin checks all three of those boxes, the value can be absolutely staggering. The thing about the 1972 Jefferson nickel is that it represents a perfect storm of collectability. It comes from a time of political tension and economic change, it holds potential for rare varieties, and it's tied to an iconic American figure. What's not to love? Now, here's where things get really interesting. In recent years, a small number of these nickels have surfaced in exceptional condition and with extremely rare minting anomalies. We're talking about coins that have been graded at the highest levels by professional grading services like PCGS or NGC. These are the coins that make headlines. These are the coins that remind us that pocket change can be more than just spare cents, it can be a hidden fortune. So if you've got a 1972 Jefferson nickel tucked away somewhere, it's time to dust it off and take a closer look. Check for strong details, inspect the mint mark, and if possible, have it evaluated by a reputable expert, because here's the kicker, and the moment you've been waiting for. One of these rare 1972 Jefferson nickels, in perfect condition and with all the right features, has been known to sell for as much as $78,000. That's right. A 5-cent coin turning into $78,000. So the next time you find an old nickel rolling around in your glove box or stuck between your couch cushions, don't dismiss it too quickly. You might just be holding a piece of history and possibly your next big payday. If you enjoyed today's video, hit that like button, subscribe to the channel, and turn on notifications so you never miss another hidden gem in the world of coin collecting. Who knows? The next treasure we uncover might be sitting in your pocket right now. Thanks for watching. Number 2. Where we explore the fascinating world of coins, currency, and the hidden treasures lying all around us. Today, we're going to uncover the story of a coin that most people have never given a second glance, the 1974 Jefferson nickel, and why this small piece of metal could change someone's life. Let's set the stage. The year was 1974. The United States was in the middle of political turmoil. President Nixon was facing impeachment. The Watergate scandal was dominating headlines. Gas prices were rising, and Americans were feeling economic pressure. Amid all that chaos, the U.S. Mint was producing everyday coins to keep the economy flowing. And among those coins was the humble Jefferson nickel. From the outside, the 1974 Jefferson nickel looks like any other. On the front, or obverse, is the familiar profile of Thomas Jefferson, 3rd President of the United States and principal author of the Declaration of Independence. His stoic gaze and classic look hadn't changed much since the design was first introduced in 1938. On the reverse side is Monticello, Jefferson's Virginia estate, a symbol of American heritage and architecture. Millions of these nickels were minted. Denver, Philadelphia, and San Francisco all struck their share. So what makes one of these coins so special? Why would anyone pay attention to something that was produced in such massive quantities? Well, that's where it gets interesting. You see, not all coins that come off the press are identical. In fact, some of the most valuable coins in the world got that way because of imperfections, tiny errors that happened during the minting process. A misaligned die, a double strike, weak details, or even a missing mint mark can transform an ordinary coin into an extraordinary one. The 1974 Jefferson nickel is no exception. Some of these nickels have been discovered with highly unusual characteristics, things like full steps on Monticello, which indicate a strong and precise strike. Full steps are a big deal for Jefferson nickel collectors. They represent sharp detail and a clean strike, and finding a 1974 nickel with this feature is extremely rare. Others have found nickels from this year with off-center strikes or doubling in the lettering or date, all of which increase a coin's rarity and value. But what really sends a coin's value through the roof is a combination of rarity, condition, and historical relevance. And 1974 offers all three. Now, let's talk about condition. Coin grading is a serious business. Coins are evaluated by professional services and given a grade. The higher the grade, the more perfect the coin. Coins in mint state, meaning they show no signs of wear, are already valuable. But when you find a 1974 Jefferson nickel in an ultra-high grade, with flawless surfaces, original luster, and possibly even a rare strike error? Now you've got something truly special. So why does this matter to you? Because it means that a coin you might already own, one you haven't thought twice about, could be hiding in your collection right now. It could be tucked in an old roll of nickels, or lying at the bottom of a coin jar from decades ago. And it might just be the key to unlocking a surprising fortune. These rare finds don't come around often, but they do exist. And when collectors and investors get wind of a high-grade, error-marked Jefferson nickel from 1974, the bidding wars can begin. So here's the part you've been waiting for. One particular 1974 Jefferson nickel, perfectly preserved, beautifully struck, and verified by experts as a top-grade rarity, was valued at an astonishing $75,000. That's right. A coin originally worth 5 cents, now worth $75,000. Let that sink in. This is why coin collecting isn't just a hobby, it's a journey into history, art, and the thrill of discovery. It's the kind of passion that turns everyday objects into priceless treasures. So before you spend that old nickel, take a closer look. Because the next big coin story? It could be sitting in your pocket right now. Number 3. We're going on a deep dive into the world of American coins to shine a spotlight on a very special piece, the 1984 Jefferson nickel, minted in Philadelphia. It's a coin that may not look flashy or unique at first glance, but it carries with it a mystery and value most people would never expect. So pull up a seat, because you're about to learn why this 5-cent coin has collectors searching high and low, and how it could be hiding in plain sight. Let's take a quick step back and talk about the Jefferson nickel itself. First introduced in 1938, it replaced the Buffalo nickel and has been a staple in American pockets ever since. The obverse of the coin features Thomas Jefferson, designed by Felix Schlag, while the reverse showcases Jefferson's famous home, Monticello, a design that has endured for decades with only a few changes. Now fast forward to 1984. Ronald Reagan was president. The Cold War was still in full swing. Apple had just launched the first Macintosh computer. It was a time of bold innovation and shifting global power. But while history was being made on the world stage, the U.S. Mint in Philadelphia was quietly producing millions of Jefferson nickels. Among them, a small number were unlike the rest. That's where our story gets interesting. You see, the 1984 P. Jefferson nickel, although produced in massive quantities, contains some rare and exceptional examples that have sent waves through the coin collecting community. The P stands for Philadelphia, and while the mint struck more than 1 billion of these nickels, very few have survived in pristine, high-grade condition. Even fewer contain the incredibly rare mint errors that elevate a coin from everyday change to a national treasure. One of the most sought-after features in Jefferson nickels is known as full steps. If you look closely at the base of Monticello on the reverse of the coin, you'll see a set of stairs. In most circulated coins, those steps are faint or worn down. But in coins that were struck sharply and preserved perfectly, all the steps are visible, with full separation and clear definition. That's what collectors crave. A Jefferson nickel with full steps is a true standout, but wait, it gets better. Some 1984p nickels have been found with significant die errors. We're talking double strikes, off-center minting, or die clashes where elements of the design are imprinted where they shouldn't be. These errors are rare, accidental, and almost impossible to recreate. That's why collectors are willing to pay premium prices when one surfaces, and let's not forget the importance of condition. Coins are graded on a 70-point scale, with mint state, MS, coins ranging from MS60 to MS70. Most nickels from the 80s fall far short due to heavy circulation. But finding a 1984p in MS66 or above, especially with full steps or a known error, is like finding a needle in a haystack. That level of rarity turns a pocket coin into a prize. So, you might be wondering, how rare is rare? Well, professional coin grading services like PCGS and NGC have reported very few high-grade 1984p Jefferson nickels in existence. It's not because they weren't made, it's because they were used, worn, lost, or simply ignored. The few survivors that do exist have become legends in the coin collecting world, and here's the part you've been waiting for. One of these ultra-rare 1984p Jefferson nickels, carefully preserved, struck with incredible clarity, and verified to include exceptional features, was once valued at an astonishing $62,000. That's right. $62,000. For a 5-cent coin. So before you toss that old nickel into a vending machine, take a moment. Look at the date. Look for that tiny P mint mark. Check the steps on Monticello. You just might be holding a piece of American history that's worth more than most people would ever believe. Number 4. If you're new here, get ready to open your eyes to the world of hidden value that lives in plain sight. And if you've been with us before, you already know every coin has a story, and sometimes, that story leads to a fortune. Now, at first glance, the 1986 Jefferson nickel seems just like every other 5-cent piece you've ever seen. It's got Thomas Jefferson's classic profile on the obverse, a familiar image that's graced the nickel since 1938, and on the reverse, Monticello, Jefferson's historic Virginia estate. It's the kind of coin that might pass through your hands 100 times without catching your attention, but don't let its simplicity fool you. This little coin has a secret, and for a very lucky few, it's been the key to an unexpected payday. Let's set the scene. The year is 1986. The Space Shuttle Challenger has just made headlines. Ronald Reagan is in the White House. Top Gun is in theaters. It's a time of patriotism, economic shifts, and major technological advances. Amid all this, the U.S. Mint in Philadelphia is producing the nation's currency, including millions upon millions of Jefferson nickels. The majority of those coins go on to live average lives, exchanged, dropped, spent, and forgotten, but not all. A small number of 1986p Jefferson nickels were struck with exceptional precision, or in some cases, with rare minting errors. And those are the coins that collectors are willing to pay a premium for. And now, what makes these coins so special? Let's break it down. At first, there's the strike quality. For Jefferson nickels, one of the most important features is the detail in the steps on Monticello, often referred to as full steps. These fine lines at the base of the building are notoriously hard to preserve. On most coins, they're worn down or never fully struck in the first place. But if you find a 1986p with clearly defined, uninterrupted steps, you're looking at a coin that instantly rises in value. Then there's condition. The vast majority of nickels are heavily circulated, they've been dropped, scraped, and pocketed for decades. That's why coins graded in the mint state range, particularly MS66 and above, are so rare. Combine full steps with an ultra-high grade, and now we're talking serious money. But wait, there's more. Some of the most valuable 1986p nickels owe their worth not just to their condition or strike, but to something that wasn't supposed to happen at all: minting errors. Think double dies, off-center strikes, die clashes, or even incorrect planchets. These are 1 in a million mistakes that slip past quality control and into circulation. When collectors discover them, especially on a relatively modern coin, they can command incredible prices. Let me tell you a true story. A coin dealer once stumbled upon a 1986p Jefferson nickel tucked away in an old roll. At first, it looked ordinary. But as they examined it more closely, the details of Monticello popped. Every line was sharp. The fields were clean. The luster was original. And most importantly, full steps. When that coin was sent in for grading, it came back with an MS67 full steps designation, one of only a handful ever found in that condition. Now here's the twist: most people would have spent that nickel without a second glance. It might have bought some gum, disappeared into a parking meter, or been left forgotten in a drawer for years. But this wasn't just any nickel. This was a rare gem, hiding in plain sight, and now, the part you've been waiting for, that very coin, a 1986p Jefferson nickel in perfect condition with full steps, was ultimately valued at an unbelievable $58,000, yes. You heard that right. $58,000, for a 5-cent coin. So next time you come across a nickel, take a second. Look at the date. Check for the little P mint mark. Flip it over and inspect those steps on Monticello. What looks like spare change to the untrained eye could be a treasure waiting to be discovered. If you enjoyed this video and you're hungry for more amazing coin stories, make sure to hit that like button, subscribe to the channel, and tap the bell so you never miss another hidden gem. Who knows, your next coin find might just rewrite your financial story. Number 5. If you're passionate about coins, or just love the idea of finding treasure where no one else is looking, then you're in for a treat today. Because we're about to uncover the surprising story behind one of the most unassuming coins in your collection, the 2001 Jefferson nickel. Now, before you roll your eyes and think, how can a coin from 2001 be worth anything? I want you to stick around. Because this isn't just about age. It's about rarity, precision, mystery, and a little bit of luck. By the time we reach the end of this video, you might just be inspired to go digging through every nickel you owned. Let's start with the basics. The Jefferson nickel has been part of American currency since 1938. For decades, it's carried the same familiar face, Thomas Jefferson on the front, and his historic estate, Monticello, on the back. In 2001, the design hadn't changed yet. The Westward Journey series wouldn't begin until 2004, so at first glance, the 2001 nickels looked pretty standard. But here's where things get interesting. The Denver Mint, represented by the D Mint mark, produced over 500 million Jefferson nickels that year. That's a massive number. So how could one possibly be rare? The truth is, it's not about how many were made. It's about how few have survived with the right combination of features. Let's talk about one of the biggest factors collectors care about: condition. Most coins go straight into circulation. They're tossed into pockets, passed through cash registers, scraped, dinged, and dropped. That wear adds up fast. So finding a coin that's still in mint state, crisp, clean, and nearly flawless is rare, especially after more than 20 years, but for Jefferson nickels, it doesn't stop at just looking shiny. There's a term collectors use: full steps. If you look closely at the steps on the Monticello building on the reverse side of the coin, you'll notice they're often worn down, incomplete, or softly struck. But when all the steps are visible, clean and well-defined, the coin gets the full steps designation, and that instantly boosts its value and demand. Now imagine this: a 2001 Jefferson nickel that didn't just survive. It was never spent, never dropped, and never handled carelessly. It stayed preserved. But even more than that, it was struck perfectly, with incredible detail. No scratches. No flaws. And yes, full steps, but wait, it gets better. Among those rare high-grade coins, a few stand out even more because of minting errors. These are the kinds of mistakes that happen during production, things like off-center strikes, die cracks, or double dies. Normally, coins with errors are caught and discarded. But every now and then, one slips through the cracks, goes into circulation, and becomes a collector's dream die. In fact, there are reports of 2001 nickels with unusual doubling in the date, or with die chips near Monticello. Some were struck slightly off-center. Others show evidence of planchet flaws, imperfections in the metal disc before it was even struck. These are exactly the types of details coin experts hunt for, and when they find them on a newer coin that's in pristine condition, the value skyrockets. Let's not forget about certification. When a rare coin is sent to a grading service like PCGS or NGC, and it comes back with a grade like MS66 or higher, that's already a cause for celebration. Add full steps. Add a rare mint error. And suddenly, you're holding a coin that could break records. And here's the kicker: most people would never know the difference. This coin looks nearly identical to every other nickel in circulation. Which means you could have one of these rare 2001 D nickels sitting in your pocket right now, completely unnoticed. So, what's the real world value of one of these treasures? Well, collectors have been known to pay handsomely for the right combination of grade, rarity, and error. And one specific 2001 D Jefferson nickel, professionally graded, in pristine mint state with full steps and a unique strike error, was valued at a jaw-dropping $45,000. That's right, $45,000. For a nickel, just imagine, one coin. One tiny piece of metal you could have easily overlooked, suddenly changing your life. So here's what I want you to do. After this video, go check your change jar. Look in old coin rolls, in that box of coins you inherited, or even inside your car's cup holder. That one nickel you find might just be the lucky one. If you enjoyed this story and want more fascinating deep dives into rare coins, incredible finds, and hidden treasures, make sure to hit the like button, subscribe to the channel, and turn on notifications so you never miss an opportunity to discover what might be hiding in plain sight. Thanks for watching, and as always, happy hunting.